Sean Farrell, a dandy, second-year man Ron Heller, and an outstanding tight end, number 88, Jimmy Giles. Second and 5 for the Buccaneers. Their opening offensive series of 85. Wilder again breaks the tackle and has running room. James Wilder to the 41-yard line of the Bears. Leslie Frazier and Steve McMichael finally pulled him down, but a first down, Tampa Bay.
Good blocking in the offensive line, but there was a couple of missed tackles, and of course it's easy to miss a tackle against Wilder, who weighs 225 pounds. Gary Fensick, number 45, had his hands on him, but he busted away, took off down the field before Les Frazier and a host of Bears pulled Mr. Wilder down. He's carried the ball both times, one by pass, one by run, and of course that was the model last year for Tampa Bay.
Look at that, 407 carries, a league record a year ago. 25-yard gain for Wilder. DeBerg on play action has Giles wide open. Jimmy Giles for a first down, Tampa Bay, all the way to the Chicago 22-yard line. Fensick and Dave Dewerson made the tackle there.
And what a fake by DeBerg, and then a roll out to the action. Watch the fake to Wilder. Everybody clamps on Wilder. Now Giles, when he gets this ball, I thought he was going to lateral back to the quarterback. There's DeBerg, and he threw it to him, was just right behind him, but he just takes off down the field. He was wide open. Jimmy Giles, who will be playing more this year because he's going to be in on third down situations with the new one-back offense.
17-yard gain, another Buccaneers first down. Singletary wildly organizing the Bears defense. Wilder takes it wide and gets to the 20-yard line for a gain of 3, where Singletary, number 50 for the Bears, made the tackle. Singletary was one of 3 Bears holdouts, the only one who came in. His defensive teammates, Todd Bell and Al Harris, no doubt looking in today. Defensively across the front, Hartenstein, McMichael, Dan Hampton, and NFL sack leader a year ago, Richard Dent. The linebacking core has been adjusted somewhat with Wilbur Marshall in place of Al Harris. And the secondary, Richardson, Frazier, Dave Dewerson in Todd Bell's spot, and Gary Fensick, the veteran free safety. Second, and let's call it 6 for Tampa Bay, at the Bears' 20-yard line. Wilder hit behind the line of scrimmage, breaks tackles, but is finally plowed down right at the 20 for little, if any, gain. But he shook off 2 Bear tacklers who had a chance to drop him for a loss. Singletary and Dewerson finally pulled him down.
That's what you call penetration by the defensive line. Dan Hampton busted by Grimes to center and just took care of any kind of coordination on that play. You know, a lot of people are saying that Tampa Bay has an advantage of this game because they've been working out in that humidity down in Florida. It's going to be hot. You're going to see some reserves playing because, as you said, Tim, it's very hot on the football field.
At the 20-yard line on third down, Sean Gale in defensively. DeBerg hits Jerry Bell, and Bell bulls his way close to the goal line. Finally stopped by Sean Gale, the nickelback, number 23. But Jerry Bell, 230-pound U-back, just overpowered young Mr. Gale.
Well, it was Mike Richardson, number 27, who went for the interception there. Instead of going for the tackle, went for the interception, and Bell showed some determination here as he bust over Sean Gale and almost got himself into the end zone. And I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers remember the last 3 games where they've been outscored by Chicago, I believe 107-25, and I think there's a little feeling they want to make amends and get even a little bit.
First and goal at the 1.5-yard line. William Perry, the refrigerator, in defensively for the Bears. Play action, wide open, touchdown. Beautiful play, well executed to Calvin McGee, the rookie tight end from Southern University, running out of the U-back position. Perfectly executed touchdown.
There was a mistake in the defensive backfield because he's open right now. There's nobody even around him. And finally, DeBerg spots him and says, I better get the ball to him before it gets out of the end zone. Easy, nice, tough drive by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, of course, we'll have to be talking about how much do the Bears miss those 2 defensive holdouts because it seemed like Tampa Bay romped right down the field.
An impressive opening offensive series for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Midway has the point after, and so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers under Lehman Minutes strike first here in Chicago. DeBerg to McGee, 7-0 Tampa Bay.
There is Bear defensive coordinator Buddy Ryan talking to his vaunted defense, which was #1 in the NFL last year, trying to figure out what went wrong, where the mistakes were made, because Tampa Bay confused the Bear defense during that entire drive. It was a beautiful drive, wasn't it, Tim?
71 yards in 7 plays, Johnny, and got to be a great feeling for Steve DeBerg and company with a somewhat reconstructed offensive line. George Yarno back from the USFL. Ron Heller, the second-year man from Penn State, playing hurt with a sore knee. Randy Grimes taking over for Steve Wilson at center. And they really just plowed their way down. And Igwe knocks another one deep near the end line. And Ken Taylor elected not to bring it out, the rookie defensive back number 31. So Chicago will start again from their 20-yard line.
It also has to be an early confidence builder for DeBerg, who did not have a good game last week in the final exhibition season. As we look at some scores here, Atlanta has the early lead over Detroit, 7-0 first quarter.
And New England in front of Green Bay, 7-0 on a Tony Collins 11-yard touchdown run. The Giants quickly in front of the Eagles, 14-0. Phil Simms has a touchdown pass on the first score of the game to Lionel Manuel. First down, Chicago Bears. Suey in motion. They give to Payton. Payton skips inside blockers, has Moorhead in front of him. Payton to the sideline. Over the 40 to the 42-yard line of Chicago. A 21-yard pickup for Walter Payton. Ivory Sully and Chris Washington. 44 and 51 made the tackle.
It looks like Payton broke one of his shoulder pads there. He's changing clothes quickly, but on this draw play, he just met great quickness as the Bucs actually had a defense, and he is so quick to the sidelines. Gives him that little strut, carrying the ball in one hand, little high knee, then he puts the ball away, and finally the Buccaneers come over and stop him. And you got to gang tackle Walter Payton. You got to gang tackle him or you are in big trouble.
Well, while they fix his shoulder pads, Dennis Gentry, number 29, the 4-year man from Baylor, comes in to replace him. He's in motion. Ken Marjoram in at wide receiver. Suey on the pitch shot. Suey cuts it upfield, fumbled the ball, but play had been whistled dead. At the 46-yard line, it'll be a 4-yard gain for the Chicago Bears, and Suey was lucky that they got a whistle. Hugh Green really put a hit on him, and Suey is really groggy. Calvin Thomas came on the field immediately to help his teammate off, and Thomas will go in to replace Matt Suey. Hugh Green had a series of injuries last year, one of them off field from an automobile accident, is at 100% and raring to go.
Hugh Green is 53 now. You're going to see what happens. Suey cuts back up the field and then runs into the pursuit back the other side. We'll have to see if he gets hit in the head, because they seem to be kind of groggy and dizzy. A couple of he just got hit by a couple of big boys, one of them being Hugh Green.
So Suey getting some attention on the Bears bench. Calvin Thomas is in the ball game, number 33 at fullback. Second and a long 5. Short drop, quick hit shot to Willie Galt. Galt trying to get away from John Holt, number 21. But Holt pulls him down. However, Chicago picks up a first down at the Buccaneer 42-yard line. And now for an NFL Today report of the Giant-Eagles game. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Tim, the Giants have jumped all over the Eagles in the Meadowlands. Bill Sims threw for a touchdown. Here's Joe Morris for the second one. And the Giants lead the Eagles 14-0. Let's go back to Tim and Johnny.
Okay, Brent. Well, a lot of people like the Giants in that very tough East Division of the NFC. First down, Chicago Bears at the Tampa Bay 42. Second offensive series for Chicago. They trail 7-0. The Buccaneers scoring on their opening drive. McKinnon in motion. They give it to Payton. Payton dances his way to the 35-yard line of Tampa Bay for a pickup of nearly 7. Hugh Green and Ivory Sully, the former Los Angeles Ram, made the tackle for the Buccaneers. Payton with 33 yards on 3 carries. Wilder has 29 yards on 3 carries for the Buccaneers, including a 25-yarder that led to the Tampa score.
There's Matt Suey back on his feet, so I think it really was you can get knocked in the head and kind of lose consciousness for 3 or 4 seconds. It rings your bell, and then usually you kind of cobweb shake out and you're okay. It appears he's okay.
A little early action. John Cannon, number 78, whether he was drawn over, and he may well have been, by his opposite number 78, Keith Van Horn. We'll find out from our referee today, Gene Barth.
Well, they called 79. They called it on Kurt Becker, the guard, rather than Van Horn. Van Horn and the 278, John Cannon, were talking about it. Van Horn said, you did it. He pointed at him and said, you did it.
Becker just went.
And Becker said, how did I get involved?
That's great. Becker says, hey, I might lose a point in my grading system for that. Let's get the right man here. So he passed it off on the guilty party, Van Horn, his teammate to his right. That'll be subject of some post-game discussion between the two, I'm sure. Turns into a 1-yard gain on the play. 2nd and 9. Chicago at the Tampa Bay 40-yard line. McMahon, McKinnon. First down Bears to the Tampa 30-yard line. Jeremiah Castillo, the 3-year man from Alabama, made the tackle.
It appears that Dennis McKinnon's knee is okay. Now, he actually falls down and slips as he goes down the field, slips down, gets back up. The timing was perfect between McMahon and McKinnon. And finally, it's Castillo who has to make the tackle, as Dennis McKinnon's been playing with a sore knee.
McMahon is 4 of 6. Steve DeBerg was 3 of 3 on the scoring drive opening the offensive series for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bears in Bucs territory at the 30-yard line. Slot formation right. Walter Payton behind Becker. Good defensive reaction by the Buccaneers, driving him out of bounds. The linebackers and the nose man, Dave Logan. Number 58, Jeff Davis, over there out of bounds with Logan, number 76. Payton picked up 3 yards. It'll be 2nd and 7.
The Bears fans thought it was a little bit rough on the sidelines. I'll tell you, number 78 Van Horn and number 78 Cannon are having a real battle. Once again, they went at it on that play. As you look at Mike Ditka, who used to go at it with everybody. An offensive intimidator when he was a player, and usually your intimidators are on defense. But he was an offensive intimidator.
The Buccaneers have rookie Ron Holmes in at right defensive end, number 90, the number 1 choice from Washington, bothered with an Achilles injury. 2nd down, and gets time. Wobbly pass for McKinnon, incomplete. On the coverage, number 44, Ivory Sully, coming up, ready to put a wrap on McKinnon. The pass not well thrown, and McKinnon unable to pull it in.
I think maybe Jeff Davis might have picked that ball. The linebacker dropping off. He got his hand up there, and he might have kicked that ball slightly.
There's a look at Jim McMahon a moment ago as the Buccaneers send in extra defensive backs, and we give you some scores. San Francisco on a touchdown run by Roger Craig leads Minnesota 7-0. Kansas City in front of New Orleans on a pass from Bill Kennedy to Walt Arnold, 7-0. And it is 3rd down here, and nearly 8 yards to go. Out of the shotgun, flags are down. The pass of Payton makes a good one-hander. Payton has first down yardage and is hit just inside the 20-yard line by Ivory Sully. But a flag was down before the pass was thrown.
I think David Logan might have jumped offside unless he was drawn offside. It was 76 who came across the line of scrimmage, so I imagine it would be declined.
Defense, 56, offside, penalty refused, first down.
The offside penalty against the Buccaneers declined by Chicago, and they'll have first down on the gain just inside the 20-yard line of Tampa Bay. Defensive substitutions for the Bucs now on first down. Jim McMahon, you saw his haircut if you saw the opening of our telecast today. Something he decided to do during training camp out of boredom in Platteville, Wisconsin. On first down, it's Walter Payton trying to get wide. And good defensive work again by Tampa Bay, coming up to force the play. David Greenwood, number 30, even though he was blocked, he forced Payton to change his direction.
You called it right. It was Greenwood who came across. He was going to be blocked by Covert. The left tackle pulling on that play from the left side all the way to the right on a right-end run. And Greenwood, who was playing his first game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, got across the line of scrimmage, took the hit, and messed up the play.
Loss of the yard, as it turned out. Good work by Greenwood. The tackle was made by Jeff Davis, number 58. Greenwood, a rookie from Wisconsin, a rookie in the NFL, has been playing in the USFL. His rights were owned by New Orleans, acquired in a deal by the Bucs this past week. Play action, good fake by McMahon, and touchdown, Dennis McKinnon. it straight for a 21-yard score. McMahon to McKinnon.
Off the play action, Cannon gets across there, gets blocked. That gives McMahon some time. And this ball was going kind of slowly. Watch, there's all kinds of Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They swiped their hands at it, but McKinnon found the hole, took it in, touchdown, Chicago.
There is Dennis McKinnon coming off the knee surgery in July and still getting very special care. He didn't practice every day this past week for Chicago, but says he feels no ill effect. And a new place kicker for the Chicago Bears, Kevin Butler, makes his first appearance. And we have a tie football game. With 2:49 remaining in the first quarter, the Bucs 7, the Bears 7. Third-year man, a free agent from Florida State in 1983, and a 21-yard touchdown score. The Bears moving 80 yards following the Tampa Bay kickoff. It took them 10 plays. They used up 5:05 on the clock, and we have a tie game. Kevin Butler, the rookie from Georgia, kicks off for the Bears. It comes down inside the goal line and is taken by Phil Freeman, a Buccaneer rookie who's got running room. Freeman is tackled by the kicker, Butler, at the Bear 45-yard line. A 57-yard return by Phil Freeman, a rookie wide receiver converted from running back, which he had been at Arizona, the 5th choice of Tampa Bay this year.
Okay, he took the ball on the goal line, hit right up the middle, and then turns on the speed. He's a former running back, as you know. Finds the crease behind the 4 horsemen, then puts a move on 48 Reggie Phillips and turns on the speed, and only the kicker, Butler, was the only man who had a chance to get him, and he had the angle on him, knocked him out of bounds on the sidelines. But this is going to be a heck of a football game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers have come here to play football.
And they will be starting at the 44-yard line of the Chicago Bears. DeBerg, the quarterback. Passing on first down, going deep. He's got a man open. Touchdown, Kevin House. 44-yard touchdown. Steve DeBerg to Kevin House on first down, and the Buccaneers are back in front.
What speed by Kevin House. He beat Mike Richardson and Steve DeBerg, who couldn't hit anybody last week. What a week will do sometimes, as House just takes it on, turns up the speed, runs by Mike Richardson, turns it on, and the pass was right out there. That's where a receiver wants it, to the inside and just over the top of the left shoulder. He takes it in. Tampa Bay, as I said, has come to play football.
A sensational touchdown play following a sensational kick return by the rookie Freeman, and then DeBerg right on the money to the speedy Kevin House.
Boy, didn't that silence the crowd here in Chicago?
Did it ever. The sellout at Soldier Field stunned as Igwebuike comes up with a point after, the Nigerian import, and the Bucs are in front 14-7.
Owning that new Chevrolet just got closer. Announcing Lowe's 7.7% financing on many of our most popular new 1985 Chevys. Save up to $1,284 in finance charges on Cavalier, $1,886 on exciting Camaro Berlinetta, $1,406 on Chevy Celebrity, $1,599 on Caprice, and $1,064 on Chevette. This is a limited time offer, so hurry. You can save up to $1,886 in finance charges. See your Chevy dealer now.
Stand proud and tall, they'll look you right in the eye. A place where pride is worth a whole lot more than money can buy. Where people care about their family, where laughter's sincere, where your word is your word, a friend's a friend, and Miller's the beer. Miller's made the American way, born and brewed in the USA. Just as proud as the people who are drinking it today. Miller's made the American way.
Miller contains no additives, no preservatives. Miller Beer. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Miller's made the American way. Miller's
Tim Ryan with Johnny Morris. A picture touchdown, Johnny.
Yes, it was the regular 5-step drop back, good pass blocking by the Bucs, and a perfect pass, just the old fly pattern, and you depend on your receiver to beat the cornerback who was man for man on the coverage. And that was a classic. If you're going to beat the Chicago Bear defense, you beat them that way, because they give you a lot of one-on-one coverage on the corners.
And the one on the one was number 27, Mike Richardson. Just was beaten cleanly by the speedy Kevin House, who does that to a lot of guys one-on-one.
They must have been watching the game films. Richardson got beat last week on a one-on-one situation.
Well, that was somewhat history-making, that series of 2 plays by Tampa Bay. Look at Midway. Just drilled it not only through the end zone, but right into the stands.
And I think through the uprights.
Wow, that's impressive.
You know, they could put in a new rule. If you kick off and it goes between the uprights, give you 1 point or something like that. You know, let's spice up the game.
Yeah, he is from Anambra, Nigeria, and was brought to Clemson by a friend of his from his childhood, Obed Ariri, and wound up beating out Ariri as the kicker for the Buccaneers. So I don't know whether they're still talking to each other or not.
Oh, yes, they are.
Ariri will probably turn up on somebody else's roster. First down, Chicago from the 20-yard line, as Midway has not given them anything else to work with. They're starting from the 20 again. Thomas and Payton, the running backs. Walter Payton trying the inside, off tackle to the right. A gain of about 6 yards to the 26-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 4 as Cannon and David Greenwood made the tackle on Walter Payton. And you can see our official temperature on our official thermometer.
That's 94 degrees, but of course it's much harder out on the carpet. And this will be a factor, I think, more in the second half. Wouldn't you have to imagine? It's hot when you're down on that carpet. They say about 120.
Definitely going to have some effect as the game goes on. That thermometer mounted just behind the Bears players bench on the near side of the stadium. So it is 2nd and 3, Chicago. Calvin Thomas appears to have gained the first down over the 30 to the 32-yard line. Stacked up by the middle of the defense of the Buccaneers, with Jeff Davis and David Logan making the tackle.
And something new at Soldier Field is air conditioners. Because it is so hot, they have put air conditioners down by the benches. It throws out air at about 60 degrees, dehumidified air, and it's also on the other side for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've never had that here before. Usually they had just fans. They decided because it was so hot they would try and help the players a little bit. I don't know how much it helps.
First down, Bears from their own 32-yard line in the I formation. Matt Suey has not returned from that bell ringer administered by Hugh Green. This is Calvin Thomas running hard. And Thomas picks up about 5, maybe 6 yards running straight ahead. Thomas reported a little heavy to the training camp this year and is certainly playing over his listed weight of 220, but seems to be perambulating quite effectively.
Well, he is still in there, so Matt Stewie must be a little bit dizzy still. Thomas, of course, has 2 bad shoulders. He's had to run more straight up because of shoulder injuries. And there is Matt Stewie, who is trying to gather his thoughts.
So it'll be 2nd and 4, a 6-yard pickup by Thomas. The ball at the Bears' 37-yard line. They trail 14-7 as the Buccaneers struck quickly following the kickoff return by Freeman. McMahon forced from the pocket and then is sacked. First sack of the day by either team at the 35-yard line, a loss of 2. Jeff Davis, number 58, made the tackle on him.
A loss of 2.
They brought a lot of people that time. Jeff Davis and Keith Browner, everybody putting the blitz on as they force McMahon to run through in the pocket, and there's a whole bunch of linebackers to pick him up. So a pretty good pass rush. Fair coverage downfield. McMahon could not find a receiver.
Well, the gun sounds ending the first period of play here at Soldier Field in Chicago, with the Buccaneers 14 and Chicago 7. A 4-man front now for Tampa Bay, showing something different with Green and Washington, the lone linebackers, on 3rd down. And the pass for McKinnon, incomplete. Close coverage on him by Paul Dombrowski, the nickelback, another new acquisition to the Buccaneers secondary. A 6-year man from tiny Linfield College in Oregon, picked up on waivers from the Patriots this year.
The Bears asked for trouble on that one because they had Marjoram and McKinnon close together, 2 receivers right there at the same spot, and that drew a crowd, and Dombrowski made the play. So Tampa Bay's going to get the ball back.
Maury Buford, number 6, comes in to punt. Acquired in a trade from San Diego. He's standing at the Bears' 20-yard line. And it is Leon Bright. And it looked like he might have lost that in the sun and let it bounce behind him. And unfortunately for Bright, it went into the Goal line. That was kind of an interesting thing. It looked like he ducked his head as though he lost it in the sun and seemed to be still bothered his eyes after the ball bounced behind him, but it did go into the end zone. 65-yard punt by Buford. A flag down upfield at the 40-yard line of Tampa Bay.
It's going to be against Chicago, but I believe that Tampa Bay is going to refuse and just take the ball.
Illegal motion, the signal against the Chicago Bears.
See, that's one thing you have to do in Soldier Field when you practice fielding punts. The sun is a factor in that direction, but there's ways that you can field a punt and get your body positioned so you don't lose it in the sun. They were very lucky in that situation because the ball, of course, it was a penalty, but the ball went on into the end zone. It's like a baseball player when he catches a fly ball. You kind of come from a certain angle, and the sun doesn't bother you so much.
So the Buccaneers start from their 20-yard line. The Soldier Field crowd comes alive, trying to exhort the Chicago defense to get the ball back. Tampa Bay leads 14-7 here in the second quarter. James Wilder forced wide by Marshall and knocked out of bounds by Duerson, and a flag down as two more Bears tackle him out of bounds, led by Singletary and Richard Dent. So there'll likely be a roughing penalty against Chicago after a good defensive play. Well, they came out fired up and it cost them.
Unnecessary roughness on a late hit, number 15.
They have called it on Mike Singletary, and that is what you say is nullifies a good defensive play. Actually, it was Otis Wilson who came across the line of scrimmage to force Wilder to go deep. And we'll see the end of it here. There's Duerson, 22, and here comes Singletary, and it's a good call because he's way over into the white. That white stripe is 6 feet wide, and Singletary hit him at least 4 or 5 feet beyond there. So it was a good call and should have been called.
From the 33-yard line, first down, Tampa Bay. They lead 14-7. Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris here at Soldier Field, where the temperatures are in the 90s. Wilder breaks another tackle and bowls close to a first down over the 40 to the 42, where Gary Fensick, the safety man, number 45, finally made the tackle, a 10-year man from Yale. Wilder has been nearly unstoppable here in this first half.
Well, he's an Iron Man. Anybody that carries the ball 407 times, which is an all-time record. When you think of some of the football players that have been dominant football players, none of them carried as many times as James Wilder.
36 yards for Wilder on 5 carries thus far. It is second and a yard to go for Tampa Bay. And it's Wilder again. Cuts it upfield for a first down. Tampa Bay close to the midfield stripe at the 50. And Gary Fensick again having to make the tackle deep in the Bears secondary.
And it was Jimmy Giles who threw the block to allow Wilder to delay and then cut up the field. He had Wilbur Marshall, stayed with him, then kicked him out as Wilder moved up the field. So Jimmy Giles throwing a few blocks out there.
Gene Sanders has come in at left guard for the Buccaneers, replacing Steve Forson. Sanders, number 74, 7-year veteran from Texas A&M. First down, Tampa Bay. Steve DeBerg, 5 for 5 so far today for Tampa.
46 defense for the Bears.
Short drop. Flares it out for Gerald Carter, complete for a gain of 4. Hit immediately by Leslie Frazier, number 21. DeBerg is 6 for 6. His touchdown pass was the longest of his career as a Buccaneer, a 44-yard strike to Kevin House.
Have you noticed most of the Tampa Bay passes have been from the short drop? In other words, you're not giving the Bears a chance to tee off on their blitz or with their good pass rushers, trying to get rid of the ball. Even on the long pass, the 44-yard touchdown pass, he just dropped back quickly, threw it up and over before the rush had a chance to get there. Good strategy by Tampa Bay.
The gain turns into a 4-yard mark. It is 2nd and 6 for Tampa Bay. In Bears territory, and early action on the left side of the Bears defensive line. Flags are down. Hartenstein jumped.
False start on the quarterback. Illegal movement, 17.
And the reason he jumped was Steve DeBerg was charged with a false start, illegal movement, usually jerking your head up or making some kind of a motion,
Illegal
perhaps
movement by the quarterback.
stepping back.
Penalty, still second down.
And Gene Barth.
They put that rule in a few years ago. Remember when some of the quarterbacks used to jerk their heads or whatever they could do to change their inflection to pull them off sides, and they finally decided they had to control that.
So the loss of 5 makes it 2nd and nearly 11 back in Tampa Bay territory. at their own 49. Hot formation left, the U-back Bell on the wing. DeBerg, whoa, what a catch by Carter. No, he couldn't hold on. Nice try by Gerald Carter, number 87. A diving attempt with coverage from Richardson, but the ball hit the turf.
Gerald Carter's had some big games against the Chicago Bears. He got 21 passes in the last 4 times that they've played each other. He had a big bomb against Chicago in the early in the season last year.
Theo Bell comes in to give the Buccaneers 3 wide receivers. Jerry Bell, the U-back, comes out. DeBerg's first incompletion of the game so far. He's now 6 of 7. The Buccaneers hoping to change that number. 11 consecutive losses on the road. They lead here in the second quarter. Third down. They give it to Wilder. Wilder is stopped short of the first down by 5 or 6 yards as Singletary made the tackle on him, and Dan Hampton, number 99. So Tampa Bay will have to punt, and Singletary made up for his miscue out of bounds by making the stop on Wilder.
There's number 50 who stays in on that nickel defense in the pass coverage, one of the few linebackers that does, and he just looks for James Wilder and knocks him down as the Bucs opted not to pass into that defensive coverage of the Bears and try and do it on a run.
Frank Garcia in for his first punt of the ball game for Tampa Bay. Ken Taylor, there's rookie, is back for it. Garcia nails that one. Comes down at the 5, but bounces upfield. And there's a loose ball near the 10-yard line, picked up by the Buccaneers, taken into the end zone by Ivory Sully, number 44, but he cannot, in that situation, take the ball in for a touchdown. He cannot advance it, but the Buccaneers have the ball. First down at the Chicago 11-yard line.
How about those turn of events? You cannot, it was a muff, like you say, he never had possession, so you can't take it in for the touchdown.
Ball was touched by the receiving team, recovered by the kicking team, but he cannot advance. It's their ball, first down.
And it was touched by the rookie Taylor, who saw the ball go over his head. He thought it would be a touchback, but watch the bounce. It hit him right in the chest. He was surprised, I'm sure, to see the ball come back upfield because it was headed toward the end zone. And there's Sully picking up the loose ball, and it's Tampa with a great opportunity here. First down at the 11-yard line of Chicago, and they lead 14-7 with 11:37 remaining in the first half. Lone setback is Wilder. He has the ball. No play action. Nice fake. Touchdown, Jerry Bell. Steve DeBerg with a beautiful fake, and Jerry Bell wide open as the Bears twice now have left receivers wide open for score.
Just tremendous faking, and of course Wilder takes the ball so much as the counter. You can see everybody goes for James Wilder, and Bell is, God, he is so open, it's hard to analyze it. A mistake on the defense somewhere.
So Tampa Bay, again, taking advantage. Right after the big play, they had a 57-yard kickoff return by rookie Phil Freeman. They struck on first down with a 44-yard bomb to house. Here they recover on the muff punt return by the Bears as Midway connects on the point after. And on first down, DeBerg hits Jerry Bell, and it is 21-7 Tampa Bay. 128 players later, it's come down to the top 2. John McEnroe, the number 1 seed, defending champion, against number 2 Ivan Lendl, coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern Time here on CBS Sports. And if it's as exciting as McEnroe's match with Vilander yesterday, you're in for some real serious tennis excitement today. Short kickoff from Midway, and it's taken by Gentry, who runs it over the 33-yard line. It is straightened up literally by Irvin Randall, the rookie linebacker from Baylor. A good field position for the Bears after the 18-yard kickoff return by Gentry. They'll be at their 33-yard line, trailing 21-7. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers had shocked the Bears in this first half of play.
They got a big break, and they took advantage of it. On that punt, if you had seen that punt, you'd never believe that it would have gone backwards because it was coming at such a line drive, but sometimes the point of the ball hits a certain way. They got a break. One play later, they score. That's what you call taking advantage of your breaks.
So McMahon brings out the Bears in the I formation. Still Calvin Thomas for the injured Matt Suhey. Play action on first down. McMahon has a man open, complete. Willie Galt at the 45-yard line of Tampa Bay. And on the coverage and the tackle, Jeremiah Castile, a 22-yard pickup.
Olympic speed for Willie Galt. Jeremiah Castile is going to give him plenty of room. Look at the room between Galt and Castile, and then he gets him going backwards, comes back, falls. The pass was perfect for McMahon. That's what you call timing on the precision passing game.
First down at the 45, and chatting with Willie Galt yesterday, he's eager to catch more passes than he has in the past. He feels somewhat demeaned. He thinks people still don't accept him as a football player and a top NFL receiver. But he says, I'll play my role. I'd like to get those bombs, and I'd like to get those possession plays. First down. Man open is Galt. Oh, he dropped the ball. Perfect pass from McMahon to Galt, who had everybody beat, and he dropped the ball. What was I just saying?
That's one of the reasons he hasn't been in the passing game as much. This time, he beats Castile, gets some help from Curry. McMahon, under pressure, put the ball right where it's supposed to be. You couldn't ask for anything more than that. I'm trying to see if he messed up on his fundamentals. Just hit him right in the hands and went down as he tried to cradle it into his body. So the Buccaneers get a break as Willie Galt drops the pass. And he'll remember that one for a long, long time.
2nd and 10, a 4-man front for the Bucs. Don Fielder, Carl Morgan, and rookie Ron Holmes are now in on the front with David Logan. 5 defensive backs on 2nd and 10. McMahon gets some time, and he's got the tight end Reitman. Reitman down to the 20-yard line. Tim Reitman took a pretty good shot at the sideline, whereas both Greenwood and Craig Curry, the second-year man from Texas, put the hit on him, but Reitman with a big first down.
Who has been plagued by knee injuries. As David Greenwood is on the coverage, and we have to give McMahon some credit here. McMahon is throwing the passes right on the dime, 3 in a row. This time he hit Reitman, who was fairly well covered by Greenwood. Reitman turns up the field and takes it down. He signed originally in the USFL after he was drafted by the Chicago Bears. Played for the Blitz in Arizona and is back and made this football team as a backup to Emory Moorhead.
Drafted by the Bears in 1982 as their number 2 pick out of UCLA. Went to the USFL and signed as a free agent this year. Play action on first down. McMahon with lots of time and a wide open Calvin Thomas. Inside the 10, breaks the tackle inside the 5. First and goal, Chicago. On the tackle, number 30, David Greenwood, who's been a busy man in his debut as a Buck. And Hugh Green there with a number 53.
Well, everything is off the play action, and McMahon seems to be getting his time. They take the blitz and knock 53 out of there. That's Hugh Green. And here's Thompson. You see Brantley, 52, misses the tackle as Thompson shows some pretty good agility. And finally, a host of Bucks take him down. So the Bears were thwarted when Galt dropped it. Came right back at 3 successful plays, and now have a chance to get on the board anyway.
You see Hugh Green come all the way back from being blocked on his rush to get in on the tackle. And it is first and goal. Andy Frederick in the tackle, number 71 for the Bears, and Thomas runs out behind that side and gets to the 1-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 1. And they have Frederick in as an extra blocker on these short yardage situations inside the 5. He becomes a second tight end in this circumstance for Chicago. Calvin Thomas a little shaken up on the play, and he's in there for Matt Suey, who had his bell rung a little earlier.
I mentioned that Thomas has had some problems with shoulders and a shoulder operation during the offseason. The other one got hurt during the exhibition season, and it appeared he had to use those shoulders that time because he was banged by 2 or 3 Bucks. And Suey wanted to go back in the game. He says, I'm okay, coach. I can play. They want to wait and see what the situation is, because when you get hit in the head, you're always reluctant. That's Johnny Rowland, the Bears' offensive backfield coach. They're talking with Suey. You're always a little reluctant to put a player back in too soon if he got dinged in the head.
Well, Suey still getting attention, or rather Thomas still getting attention on the field, and Suey discussing things with Johnny Rowland and now Walter Payton. And Matt says, hey, I can handle this. I'm fine. Let me go get it in the end zone. The ball's been spotted inside the 1-yard line. The Bears trailing 21-7 as Steve DeBerg has 3 touchdown passes for Tampa Bay, including his longest as a Buccaneer quarterback, a 44-yard bomb to Kevin House. And Calvin Thomas apparently is okay. Coming over to the Bears sideline, a little encouragement from Walter Payton. Well, elsewhere in the NFL, I think we have some scores to report to you. Green Bay trailing New England 12-0 now, and that's help, of course, for both the Bears and the Bucs when other division rivals are losing. The Giants continue to lead Philadelphia 14-0 in the second period. And it is 2nd and goal at the 1-yard line for Chicago. Down by 2 touchdowns, Gentry and Payton. And Walter Payton is stopped. Hugh Green came firing in, and Jeff Davis right behind him. Great defensive job by the Buccaneers, stopping that very difficult man to stop, Walter Payton.
There was a fumble there as Hugh Green, 53, got across, made contact with Payton. You might get a good look here. You'll see the ball squirt out, and I believe it squirted out before he hit the turf. We'll see.
No,
you can't see, but there, no, he was on the ground.
Yeah.
So that was the fumble was after that, and then he was trying to reach it over, but the ball had come back into his hands, but Hugh Green made the penetration. You watch those linebackers for Tampa Bay. They'll be off the line of scrimmage and shoot that gap and try and dive into the hole.
Suey in for the Bears. Diving is McMahon. Touchdown. Jim McMahon on a quarterback sneak. The Buccaneers are furious. They say that he either didn't make it or he coughed up the ball. But remember, you only have to break the plane of that goal line. And then if you cough up the ball, it's no fumble. But McMahon is credited with a touchdown.
Okay, let's watch number 9, McMahon now. Did he get across there with the ball?
Yeah, there he is.
It looks like he's across the plane there. It's,
yeah, all you have to do is do what he did. He reached over with the ball. He broke the plane with the ball.
As long as his knees aren't on the ground, which they weren't at that particular time.
So Jim McMahon has closed the margin, and Kevin Butler is in for the point after. And he's got it. So we have had a wide open first half here with still 8:09 to play at Soldier Field. The Bears close the margin to 7. Tampa Bay 21, the Bears 14.
Over 100 years ago, Frederick Miller started an American tradition. He put his beer in clear bottles to show its purity, its quality. Miller's made big American.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris at Soldier Field, where the Chicago Bears have taken the ball in from 67 yards away in 7 plays, using up 3:22 on the clock. McMahon on the quarterback sneak for the score. And it's a 21-14 ball game. Kevin Butler will kick it off for Chicago. Freeman and Bright the deep man, and Butler nails it through the end zone. A little following wind as we saw Midway knock 2 through the end zone when he kicked from that end, and the Georgia-Clemson rivalry continues. These two young men faced each other in a game last year, and Butler came out on top as his team came out on top. Midway had 3 field goals in that game. 134 times out of 184 in his college career, Butler's kickoffs were not returned as he was able to hit them that deep. And these are 2 of the outstanding kickers from the NCAA. St. Louis in front of Cleveland 7-3 in the second period, and Kansas City 13-3 over New Orleans in the first quarter. And again, the crowd cheering for the Bears defense, last year's #1 to stop the Bucs, but you can't stop Wilder. Wilder nearly got down the sideline. A flag on the play, tripped up by Mike Richardson, or he might have gone the distance. A 15-yard gain for James Wilder.
This is probably going to be called back, but it was still a heck of a run by James Wilder. He broke a tackle. Otis Wilderson had him dead to rights, number 55, and you got to hit Wilder. Make sure you got a hold of him. He just bounced right up on it.
Illegal use of the hands, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. It'll still be first down.
Well, that was Kevin House charged with the penalty for a downfield block that was illegal, and probably Wilder didn't need the help at that point. Had he shaken that last tackle, he would have been long gone.
Well, as a blocker downfield, whenever in doubt, and you know that your ball carrier's already got 15 or 20 yards, you're best not take a chance. He was trying to get his head to the side of Mike Richardson, but you see he hits him right in the back, and there was just really no reason to take that kind of a chance of hitting the guy from the back.
Good job by Richardson to put the stop despite that block. First down, 9 to go, and it's intercepted by Gary Fensick. Fensick to the Buccaneers 20-yard line. Gerald Carter, the intended receiver, perfectly timed pickoff. Dent and Jerry Bell are having a set to down at the 10-yard line. And flags are thrown down there as things getting a little physical here. Richard Dent, that's Otis Wilson, 55, but it was Dent who got into it. What a nice interception. The 10th by Fensick against the Buccaneers in his career.
And I don't think DeBerg even saw him as he saw Carter coming across the field. Fensick there just as a safety there, just stood in there, watched the quarterback, and stole the ball, and they're going to rule it down right there that there was contact by Carter so that Fensick could not get up and run down the field. Now there's a penalty.
Illegal motion on Tampa Bay. That penalty is automatically refused. I have a personal foul, unnecessary roughness after the interception. Will penalize Chicago 15 yards, and it'll be their ball, first and 10.
Well, you saw where Fensick was down, as you said, Johnny, at the 36 would have been the line of scrimmage, not at the 20 where he had run the ball to. Now, from that point, they're assessed 15 yards for unnecessary roughness. They didn't...
Otis Wilson was involved in the situation.
Yeah, I think it was Richard Dent, frankly. It was Dent and Jerry Bell who were having at each other, and then Wilson came and got into the argument afterwards. But they did not finger the culprit there. But nonetheless, the Bears have the football. And a first down at their own 49-yard line. In motion goes Calvin Thomas. Play action. McMahon is sacked. What a tackle by John Cannon. Number 78. A diving tackle of Jim McMahon. And a loss back inside the 40-yard line of Chicago.
And you talk about a big play as Cannon's number 78. Now watch him come across the line of scrimmage. So it gets over Mark Bortz behind Bortz 62, makes the dive, and McMahon is not able to get out of the pocket. The Buccaneers, of course, noted for their 3-4 defense. They'll go into a 4-man line sometimes in the third down situation, but I noticed they were doubling the wideouts that time, so I don't think you're going to see Willie Gault and Dennis McKinnon on one-on-one situations too much anymore.
Second and 20, a 10-yard loss on the play. 2 sacks by Tampa, last year's leaders. The Bears have none so far. And McMahon just simply took off and picked up the 10 yards that have been lost.
I think McMahon faked out his own team on that. I don't believe it was planned. Well, I think if it was what you call a real naked reverse with the quarterback.
Hugh Green forced him out of bounds.
He wanted to get over to the sideline so he could talk with Mike Ditka about the next play. That was the reason he called that. He wasn't sure what he was supposed to call. The Bears signal in their plays, as you saw Kenny Marjoram coming in with Jim McMahon. In fact, both teams signal in their plays. Mike Ditka is calling the Bear plays today. Lehman Bennett is not calling the Bear plays, the Buck plays for Tampa Bay. Jimmy Ray does that job.
Carl Morgan has come in with Ron Holmes to make a 4-man front on third down. And 9 for the Bears out of the shotgun. McMahon tails it up deep. And it is intercepted inside the 5-yard line, intended for Ken Marjoram, picked off by Jeremiah Castile. Well, McMahon just aired that out, and Castile was step for step with Marjoram. And Castile comes up with a big interception as the Buccaneers get the ball back the same way the Bears had taken it away.
Once again, McMahon has the chance, the time to throw the ball, and he throws it to the spot. It was a well-thrown pass. The difference was that Castile was running right with Marjoram, and he was also there, too. So you give the credit where credit is due, and that's the defensive back who made the interception. McMahon, aside from having an interception, gets a little bit of a smash, and I believe that was Cannon who put the hit on there after he threw the ball. And there's Jeremiah Castile, number 23, who has shown rapid improvement for Tampa Bay. He's a good one.
Third-year draft in 1983, and he has developed very nicely into an NFL quality cornerback. So Tampa Bay starts deep in their own end from the 4-yard line. Steve DeBerg, 7 and 9, 3 touchdown passes, 1 interception. Wilder, the workhorse, dives over the 5-yard line to about the 7. Mike Singletary up into them there, number 50 for the Bears. They'll spot it close to the 8-yard line.
The Bears were in their 46 defense, and it seems that every time they get into it, Tampa Bay has run towards the side where the linebackers are, where they move 58 Marshall up there inside of 55 Otis Wilson. It's kind of, everybody calls it a crazy defense, but it seems that the Bucs are running straight at it when they see the 46 defense. It's named 46 for a former Bear, Doug Plank, who used to be a defensive back with the Bears. Now you can see
Wilder was 62 yards and a busted play. DeBerg gets just back to the line of scrimmage. Some more pushing and shoving going on down there as the heat, I think, is starting to addle some brains down there, or fry them or something. But the guys are really getting at each other. And that was Steve McMichael with Otis Wilson putting the stop on DeBerg, but a busted play by the Buccaneers. And talking with DeBerg yesterday, he and both his coach Lehman Bennett said there would be a number of audibles because of that difficult, complex Bears defense. It would require DeBerg to come up and check things out and audible frequently. And that might have been the case there. Not everybody picked it up. DeBerg wound up having to get it back to the line of scrimmage. So it's 3rd and 7.
46 again.
Flag down. Flare pass for Wilder. Pushed out by Singletary. And Wilbur Marshall and Giles going at each other again.
Otis Wilson looked like he got across the line of scrimmage a little too soon. Now, whether he was pulled up, I don't know. He was the one that moved first, if that's the call.
Gene Barth signals offside against the Bears. The yardage will not give them a first down, however.
So I'm sure they'll take the penalty and have a more reasonable 3rd down situation.
Defense, number 57 offside, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
So it'll be 3rd and about 2.
There's Otis Wilson arguing that he shouldn't have called me or I wasn't offside, one or the other.
Coming up at halftime, and that's 5:01 away on our clock.
Here comes the refrigerator man.
The NFL Today with Brent Irv and Jack Youngblood, special guest today, scores and highlights, and they'll include a U.S. Open preview of the singles final between McEnroe and Lendl. And there is Jim Perry, number 72. The refrigerator, as Johnny Morris just referred to him, his college nickname at Clemson, number 72 on the short yardage. The pitch out, and the Bears bury him. Back at the 13-yard line, Dan Hampton drops Wilder for a loss. Otis Wilson was there, along with Hampton. Wilder has now carried 10 times in this first half.
There's William Perry, number 72, 330 pounds of romping, stomping dynamite. He's going to be playing on short yardage situation. The Buccaneers could use a good punt here.
From the end zone, Frank Garcia. With Ken Taylor, the rookie, waiting for it at the Bears 48. High punt. Fair catch signaled by Taylor at the 48-yard line of the Chicago Bears. A 40-yard punt. 4:12 remaining in the first half. Tampa 21, the Bears 14.
Got some rough spots for the first few games. They look good. They have really confused the Bears on defense.
Steve DeBerg said yesterday when we chatted to him that he didn't want to have to compete with a ghost again. He had to do that with Joe Montana at San Francisco, with John Elway at Denver, and now the specter of Steve Young looms behind him. He said, I could just go out there and play my game without thinking about anybody else. Today, so far, Steve DeBerg is doing all that anybody could expect of a quarterback. He has his team in front 21-14 with 3 touchdown passes. And there is Steve DeBerg. And he knows full well that his Tampa Bay team is trying to sign Steve Young and get him in uniform. All right, the Bears first down, complete to Moorhead. Moorhead inside the 30-yard line, and a first down for the Bears. Ivory Sully making the tackle at the 28-yard line of Tampa Bay. They will spot the ball, a 23-yard gain.
And this time the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were a little late on their coverage. You see Moorhead, the tight end, just running an angle towards the sideline. The wide receiver cut inside, and Sully was over late to be on the coverage, and it was a one-on-one situation as Emery Moorhead took it down the sidelines, and the Bears are in striking distance once again. So the pressure has switched on now to Tampa Bay's defense.
Craig Curry has come in to replace Ivory Sully. on first down at the Tampa Bay 22. They fake the pitch out, and Matt Suey back in the game has his first carry since running into Hugh Green back in the first period. And Suey picks up 5. Green again putting the tackle on him. I'm sure Matt would have been happier to look up and see another number other than 53.
Now, McMahon, you can see there, number 9, just took the signals from Steve Fuller, the Bears' backup quarterback. And that helps any team, both Tampa Bay and Chicago, get to the line of scrimmage a little sooner and gives a quarterback more chance to call audibles time to do something. Doesn't have to worry about that 30-second clock as much.
That was generous on the 5-yard gain. It's 3 for Matt Suey, 2nd and 7. McMahon gets time and intended for McKinnon. Good defensive coverage by John Holt, number 21, the 5-year man from West Texas State. It'll be 3rd down. Well, Detroit and Atlanta are now tied up at 14 apiece in the second period. And next week, the Lions, one of the competitors in the Central Division against the Bears and the Buccaneers, will be at home against the Dallas Cowboys. Doubleheader action on CBS. And you will see one of these games, depending on what area you're in, opening our doubleheader. Minnesota at Tampa Bay, the Giants at Green Bay, Atlanta at San Francisco. Check the local listings for the game in your area. 3rd down play. 5 defensive backs in on the passing down. McMahon has lots of time, but it's tipped, intended for McKinnon. And it might have been Ron Holmes, the rookie, who got a hand on that, number 90.
The Bears had a free play there because it looked like somebody jumped off for Tampa Bay.
Flag down, you're right.
Number 90 defense, offside, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Well, that was Holmes, the rookie from Washington. And he's not really 100% ready to go. He's been bothered with an Achilles injury during the preseason. The man they had hoped could replace Leroy Selman, who's gone at least for the year with a back injury. And they're hoping this number 1 choice could perhaps become another Leroy Selman. That's hardly possible, I guess, but Holmes, a very highly regarded rookie. 2 tight ends in for the Bears, Moorhead and Reitman, and then they send in Andy Frederick as a blocking tight end. 3rd and 2 on a short yardage situation. And the give is to Suey. And Suey is stopped at the line of scrimmage. They'll be well short, at least a yard, but with 1 more down to go. Good job by the Bucs, and it was Ron Holmes, number 90, who piled up the traffic. Young man we were just talking about, 6'4", 255-pounder.
Now you can see the official wheeling his arm as Mike Ditka sends in the field goal team. The play has already begun. They're already down to only 17 seconds, and that's one way they're trying to speed up the action in a football game.
Kevin Butler will have the ball spotted at the 28-yard line for a 38-yard attempt. Steve Fuller will hold. Butler's first field goal attempt as a Chicago Bear, and he has it. A 38-yard field goal for Kevin Butler, the man who sent the popular Bob Thomas away from the Bears after a 10-year career with Chicago. And he has reduced the margin as with 2:35 remaining in the first half of play at Soldier Field. The score is now Tampa Bay 21 on the Bears 17. And both teams offensively have been able to move the ball almost at will. Defensively, the surprise has to be the Chicago Bears, unless you say, well, the number 1 defense doesn't have Al Harris and Todd Bell. Maybe they've lost more than their coaching staff thought they would, although Buddy Ryan particularly would like to have those 2 guys back, not to say Mike Ditka wouldn't. But Ditka talked confidently about the replacements yesterday.
Yes, he did. He feels that the defense is just as strong with the 2 replacements. You have to wonder because they were such good football players, and to mesh in 2 more football players, it's obviously weakened the defense. But I think you got to give credit to the Tampa Bay offense and what Lehman Bennett has done. And the game that DeBerg has had, his statistics are really great, and they have actually tricked and fooled the Bear defense quite a bit. They have, and when they've run with Wilder, they've blocked well in the offensive line. I just think the assimilation of Lehman Bennett's offense has been excellent. You've got to give Jimmy Ray some credit. He calls the plays, and they move the ball up and down the field. So we still have a half to go. This is quite a football game. More than a half.
Lots of scoring with 2:35 still to play first half. Butler's kickoff will come down at the 1-yard line, taken by Phil Freeman. And Freeman this time is stopped at the 22. On his last sortie upfield, he went 57 yards, the longest kickoff return in Tampa Bay history. And then they struck on that 44-yard bomb to Kevin House immediately following Freeman's return. This time a 21-yard return, and Cliff Thrift, a new linebacker for the Chicago Bears, acquired from the San Diego Chargers, made the tackle on the play. A 7-year veteran acquired on waivers, and Mike Ditka and Buddy Ryan are very happy with his play in the preseason. First down, Tampa Bay from their 21. They give us to Wilder. He's got a big hole. Wilder running away from people. Duerson, Fensick finally combined to stop him, but another first down for Tampa Bay at the 45-yard line. A 22-yard pickup for James Wilder.
And you talk about the quick moves for a man who weighs 225 pounds. Watch the move, and there's the block by Grimes on Mike Singletary. He just buried Singletary 60 on 50, and then it was Wilder down the field. Finally, Frazier traps him off, and Duerson and Fensick and everybody else comes in on the tackle. But he got a great block from the center, Randy Grimes, on Mike Singletary to take him out of the play, and it was Wilder's quick move back for the big man that made the difference.
We've reached the 2-minute warning here in the first half of play at Soldier Field. The Buccaneers in front by 4.
You work hard for your money, and we're working too, giving it all, making breakfast for you at McDonald's.
You work hard for your money, so nobody gives you those great tasting deals at breakfast like McDonald's.
It's a good time. But doing all for your money. For the great taste of McDonald's.
I never got used to the idea of being a hero. Been no stars on a potato farm. I lived a simple life here. A really good life.
There's still a place where people don't forget where they came from. A place where beer is beer, and the brand is Miller. Miller contains no additives or preservatives. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Miller's made the American way.
Got a whistle in you? Toyota will help you load up for less. Chrome front bumper, split bench seat, AM/FM stereo combo. Buy any of these 1985 Toyota trucks, and you can load up with over $1,000 worth of added features for only $399. So load up and save $659. Look for this sticker.
Now that's worth whistling about.
Oh, 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 what a feeling. Toyota.
Tim Ryan with Johnny Morris, and there's Lehman Bennett on the sidelines. His offensive coordinator on the right of your screen. The white visor is Jimmy Ray.
He says this beats the heck out of selling motorhomes, huh?
Well, he said, you know, I missed it and I didn't. You know, you're away from something and you make a choice. He was still being paid by Atlanta, and he kind of enjoyed learning about the business world. But he said, I'm real happy to be back, and it felt like I was never really away. This is Wilder on first down. Wilder plows for about 4 yards. It'll be 2nd and 6, and Wilder has carried 12 times already for 87 yards. Marshall and Singletary on the tackle.
Now you can see DeBerg is calling the plays a hurry-up offense, and that's one thing that Lehman Bennett has asked of his quarterbacks. They call a lot more of the play. We'll get into that in a moment.
2nd down, a long 5, and the pass out to Jerry Bell, and a flag on the play. Apparently, whether Bell was roughed out of bounds or not, we'll wait and see. Mike Ditka not too happy about that call.
Jerry Bell.
It looked like he was stopped just short of the first down on the pass. Mike Ditka
Personal
discussing
foul, late hit out of bounds, number 58 defense.
Well, that's Wilbur Marshall, number 58. Call made by Jerry Austin, the side judge, number 34.
I think what Marshall is saying is that he wasn't sure if he was out of bounds. Marshall is 58, and he kept running there. I would say he could be able to tell that he was out of bounds, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think so. I think you've got an excited young rookie here trying to replace Al Harris. He's been very aggressive the entire first half and has made some good plays, but has been involved in a couple of these little scuffles and infractions.
That's a big penalty.
Yes, it is. First down, Tampa Bay at the 32-yard line.
Blitz.
Draw play. Wilder shakes another tackle, and he's got running room. Wilder all the way down to the 15-yard line. They simply cannot stop this man today. Bensick and Frazier put the tackle on him finally, but the Buccaneers are first down at the 15.
Tampa Bay's first timeout.
And you talk about a great play. That time the Bears came with the all-out blitz, and if it's not a pass, usually a blitz like that, you see Dave Duerson coming in, and the Bucs picked up on the blitz, creased it, and Wilder did the rest. Dipped inside and outside. What a runner he is. You know, he hasn't really gotten the national publicity that some of these other guys have, but he will. He will. You know, when he came up, you know, he isn't called upon to block so much anymore because when he came up, remember, Tim, he was usually the up back on a two-back offense, and he was called on to block, and he always used to block so well. What a great blocker, what a great blocker. Well, look what happened. He has developed into a great runner, great pass receiver. Geez, he does everything. The last 4 years, he's caught 48, 53, 57, and 85 passes. That's aside from running the ball all the time. I mean, he's really a semi-Superman, you might say.
He's over the 100 mark, as you saw, 102 yards here in the first half on 13 carries. Still 1:18 to play as the Buccaneers took their first time out.
I'll say one thing, too. Saw him at the hotel. Boys, he dressed well. Boy, he knows how to buy the right clothes, I'll tell you that.
Kansas City in front of New Orleans, 23-3. In fact, James Wilder's been hired as a model. 21-10, Seattle over Cincinnati at halftime. Seahawks favored by many to make it to the Super Bowl. Miami in front of Houston, 13-9. Dan Marino, we're told, was hurt earlier in that game. We have no updated report. On first down, DeBerg, incomplete. Flag down. Gerald Carter, the intended receiver. An apparent interference call coming up against the Bears. The ball was there. Carter had it briefly, could not hold on.
Interference, 27 defense, first down.
And Richardson is called for interference, number 27.
This is one of these cases where the isolated replay will tell the official whether he made a right call or not, possibly, because did he make contact before the ball got there? Well, it's really tough to tell there. It appears that it was a bang-bang play, and as a judgment official, he was right there.
So it is first and goal for Tampa Bay at the Chicago 2-yard line. Perry is in defensively. Wilder pulls his way in for a touchdown. James Wilder. 3 Bears hit him, but they could not stop him short of the line. Duerson was there. The linebacker, Otis Wilson, and Mike Hartenstein, but they could not keep him out of the end zone.
This was a case of the Chicago Bears having it defense, but it was a question of stopping James Wilder because there were 4 hits right there, 2, 3. Here comes the 4th hit right there by Dent, and Wilder still bulled his way into the end zone. That's determination.
So quickly again, Tampa Bay, with a couple of big plays, gets themselves into the end zone. And the point after try by Midway, and it is now suddenly a 28-17 ball game with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers rolling offensively, taking advantage of opportunities, making the big plays, and opening the lead to 28-17 with 1:09 to play in the first half. 78 yards, 6 plays is all it took. They used up 117 in their 2-minute drill to get into the end zone. Wilder now 105 yards on 14 carries and a touchdown.
And as we said a moment ago, Lehman Bennett's got to be enjoying this, and this is going to wind up being a game of attrition too, because we're not even to halftime, and these teams have been running up and down the field. There have been a lot of big plays, a lot of running, and as we said, it's well over 100 degrees down on that football field. And if you had to take a guess as to which team would hold up the best on this kind of weather, you'd have to go with Tampa Bay, because they work out in that heat down there, where the Bears have had pretty mild weather up here. As you look at the scoring drive, they're worried about the fans here. They've set up several medical places for people sitting in the stands in the sun in case they start feeling faint. So it's very hot.
Well, we see a lot of Bear top men in the stands, too, on this hot day. And officially on our CBS official thermometer, it is officially about 92 degrees, and that's down near the Bears bench. A bouncing kickoff by Igwe taken by Dennis Gentry, gets over the 30-yard line to the 31 and takes a hard knock there and will get no farther. And the Bears with 103 will have a 103 drill from their 31-yard line. It was Mike Pryor, a local product, playing for Tampa Bay, rookie from Illinois State. Their number 4 pick this year made the tackle.
He's from Chicago Heights in the Chicago area. Was also a great baseball player. He's drafted by the Dodgers.
Pryor, they think very highly of. Their number 4 choice right now playing behind David Greenwood at strong safety, but they think he's a real good prospect. McMahon 10 of 16. He's doing his job, 155 yards and a touchdown.
Tampa Bay's doubling both wide receivers.
Holmes, as they set up the screen, had the rush on McMahon. They got it to Payton, and again, good defense by the Buccaneers. They read it, they were there, and they held him to a gain of maybe a yard. Logan and Cannon, and they have been superb in this first half. The Bears call their first timeout, as the referee also corrects it. Garth, 49 seconds on the clock. They wouldn't let Payton get out of bounds over there.
The Bears are going against a prevent defense now, and it's going to be tough to hit the wide receivers unless they cut across the middle. Most of the passes now, I would imagine, the chances of completing will be over the middle somewhere, and of course, that's not anywhere near the out of bounds. 2 timeouts remaining for both teams as Jim McMahon, wearing that big wrist vest, waist vest, I should say. He had a terrible kidney injury, as you know, Tim, and he looks a little bulky. Looks like he might be eating too much spaghetti, but he's it's just a bulky weight trying to prevent another kidney injury.
Actually, his weight's down a little bit from a year ago. And we want to remind you that coming up at halftime, you'll see scores and highlights of all of this opening day action in the NFL 85. Brent Irv and Jack Youngblood will be joining Brent and Irv in the studio to bring you up to date on what's happening elsewhere around the league. Also, they'll feature a U.S. Open preview. Don't forget McEnroe and Lendl coming later today on CBS Sports. The championship in the men's division of the U.S. Open at Flushing Meadow, the National Tennis Center, and that should be an exciting match. Number 1 and 2 seeds facing each other. 2nd and 9. Out of the shotgun, 49 seconds to play. 28-17 Tampa leads. Calvin Thomas in with Payton. Payton has the ball. Payton dancing outside and couldn't retain his balance as Mark Bortz, his guard, blocking out there, but knocked down in front of him. Gained 7 yards. 35 seconds and ticking. Hugh Green made the tackle on Payton. McMahon off to Payton. Payton is slowed up by Brantley, but Brantley couldn't hold on to him. And Payton got out of bounds with 23 seconds left and advances the ball to the 46-yard line of Chicago. A 9-yard pickup. And the clock stopped as Payton went out of bounds.
Well, realistically, you have to figure the Bears will be satisfied if they could get a shot at a field goal before the wind would be with Butler. A field goal before halftime to close the gap to 28-20. Pretty tough to go for the touchdown.
They come out in the shotgun with 3 receivers spread across the field. And now Thomas goes into the pass pattern. And, whoa, not sure what that was all about. McMahon in the general direction of Walter Payton, but Payton looked like he was just a release man on the play. Well, that stopped the clock with 18 seconds, but obviously a broken pass play.
Well, that's the best thing about it for the Bears. It stopped the clock anyway, so they have a chance to regroup.
Jim McMahon, we talked and we showed you his haircut if you saw the beginning of our game. That came out at training camp. He said somebody referred to me as a 1940s type quarterback, comparing him to some of the old-timers who were a little wild and woolly. So he said, I thought maybe I'd have a 40s-style haircut. Well, it turned into an 80s style. 2nd and 10. McMahon is going to be sacked again, and it is the nose man, David Logan, number 76. He and John Cannon, number 78, have just been awesome in this first half against the run and the pass. The 3rd sack of the first half by Tampa Bay. 6 seconds on the clock.
Chicago's 2nd timeout.
Bears take a timeout with the ball at the 36-yard line. It's just to finish off about McMahon.
Logan is a a nose guard who will get sacks. He has 30.5, and you know he's going to be double teamed. He's 76 over the middle. Now he's double teamed. There's Kurt Becker. They do a little crisscross. Payton tries to get out of the backfield, ends up actually with only one man blocking on him, Kurt Becker, and gets around it and brings McMahon down. So he has 31.5 sacks. And you know, for a nose guard in a 3-4 defense, as you know, Tim, you know, he's just supposed to jam things up. He's not supposed to get sacks. He's not supposed to be at the sideline so much, but he gets all over the place and is really one of the more active nose guards in the NFL. And a nose guard in a 3-4 defense usually gets no credit, no publicity. He's earned his.
Well, we asked young Chris Lindstrom, who was going to start alongside him, did start alongside him today, you know, what it was like to have Logan next to him, and he said, oh boy, it makes me feel a lot better. He said he's so experienced and so helpful, and he does give you that quickness. He's not just piling people up. You know that he's going to be making the rush with you as well. That's Don Fielder, number 65, a first-year man from Kentucky, also out of the USFL. And he's had a fair amount of time here in this first half as they've used all of their defensive linemen because of the heat.
That's right.
So it's 3rd and very long with 6 seconds left. Calvin Thomas and Dennis Gentry are in the running back spots, and McMahon is going to try to get it downfield. Sideline is complete. No, out of bounds, they're saying. Hugh Green had coverage on Willie Galt.
They're saying complete, but out of bounds after he... Oh, are they going to take it back? No, they're giving him the completion.
Well, I'm sure I saw the official, number 37, rule him, show him out of bounds, Earl Toller.
You know what? I think...
Last time out. Their 3rd and last time out.
I think they're going to go for a field goal.
Well, they did give him the completion for sure. And Kevin Butler is apparently going to get a field goal try. And Butler will be making his first long one for the Chicago Bears.
He made one of 60 yards last year and missed one of 71 yards while he was in college.
Yeah.
Missed it, just barely missed it, they said, by about a foot. So he does have the ability, and he has the wind behind him because the wind is coming from south to north, and it would be what would it be, about 62 yards? It would be around 60, 61 yards here, so he's capable of it if he hits it right.
At Clemson, he was 10 of 17 between 50 and 60 yards. That's pretty impressive. They're going to spot it at the 46-yard line.
It'll be about a 63.5-yard field goal if he makes it.
Now let's see what the rookie can do. He prepares himself for what he calls imagery, imagining himself making these kinds of kicks. And that's going to be well short. Well short. Comes down in the end zone, and Kevin Butler appeared to have hurt his hand somehow on the play. Well, the first half comes to a close. I didn't see what happened. Butler was watching the flight of the ball. And he apparently, how does a kicker hurt his right hand? I'm not sure. But nonetheless, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been the story of this first half, defensively and offensively. And Gleeman Bennett's got to feel very, very good about how his team came out here prepared to play the opening game of the season. And he takes into the locker room this lead. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers 28, the Chicago Bears 17.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by your Toyota dealer and the rugged 1985 4x4 truck. And by McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
Rock and roll.
Here at the National Tennis Center, temperatures are expected to rise into the mid-80s, and every ticket in the house has long since been sold. It's the men's final of the U.S. Open. John McEnroe versus Ivan Lendl. Hi, everyone. I'm John Tesh here at the USTA National Tennis Center. You know, on the surface, it would appear to be a rematch of last year's men's final, but in reality, the performance levels of the combatants has really differed this year. First of all, John McEnroe, the tempestuous defending champion, he's looking for a 5th U.S. Open title in the last 7 years. He almost didn't make it past the semifinals yesterday. He had to come from behind to beat Sweden's Mats Wilander in 5 grueling sets. And then last night, second seed, Ivan Lendl. He took out an injured Jimmy Connors in straight sets. Lendl now advances to his 4th straight U.S. Open final. and he told us why this U.S. Open title means a lot to him.
You know, it's a championship of the country where I wasn't born, but where I live and where I enjoy it very much, and it would mean very much to me.
And should Ivan Lendl win, he would become the first right-hander to win the U.S. Open since John Newcomb did so, and that was back in 1973. With me is our tennis analyst, Barry McKay. And Barry, what does Ivan have to do to get by John?
He's really got to serve well with the first serve, John. He's got a high percentage on that first serve because McEnroe will crawl all over that second serve. More importantly, he's got to be flexible. He's got to change his game up, hit some drop volleys, hit some drop shots. If he does both of those things, he might have a chance.
Now, it was very hot yesterday when John played Wielander. Is that going to affect him today?
I think so. I think he took a lot out of himself yesterday, and I don't think Lendl had nearly as tough a match, so John's going to be more tired today.
All right, Barry, thank you very much. So coming up a little bit later on this afternoon on CBS Sports, it's the men's singles final, John McEnroe versus Ivan Lendl.
All right, we seldom get an opportunity to ask Jack Youngblood about tennis, but what about this final?
Tennis is like eating quiche.
You get to answer all the mail from our Chicago tennis fans.
It's football season now. I mean, you don't watch tennis.
Well, what about you?
We watch tennis on this But I tell you, McEnroe, of course, is a guy I like. He's a tough guy, great competitor, and played well in the heat the other day. I wonder how he's going to play on a wet course.
All right, we're going to find out. I want to update another story in Wrigley Field, up the road from Soldier Field. Pete Rose has done it. First inning, if you're watching the NFL today, he rushed himself into the lineup, and then he singled against Reggie Patterson. He is now to within 2 of breaking Ty Cobb's all-time record. So we will continue here with the NFL Today on CBS right after these messages from your local stations.
College football on CBS Sports. Saturday, Notre Dame takes on Michigan. When you look for champions, you look to college football on CBS Sports. This is CBS.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom. Don't worry, call the Car X-Man.
Do you do foreign cars?
Foreign cars aren't foreign to Car X, ma'am. Japanese, German, French. We stock just the right muffler. Guaranteed for as long as you own your car. Foreign or American. Another country heard from.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom. Don't worry, call the Car X-Man.
It's coming.
Well, a surprise, at least for me, in Chicago's Soldier Field here this afternoon. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers with that 28-17 halftime lead. Jack Youngblood, are you surprised at the way the Buccaneers have been scoring here?
Brent, I thought it'd be a low-scoring game, to tell you the truth. Although Chicago's got 2 holdouts in Todd Bell and Al Harris, and that could present some changes coming up here real soon.
They may loosen up the first strings this week, I'll tell you that one. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs. Remember in the pregame show, Jimmy the Greek said, beware the Chiefs today. Look at it, 26-3 over the Saints. The St. Louis Cardinals and the Cleveland Browns. I know a lot of folks that think the Cardinals have got Super Bowl possibilities this year. Well, the Browns have got a tough defense, underrated. How about Neil Lomax, sir?
Well, Neil Lomax is finally coming to his own, Brent. He does everything well from the quarterback position. Here, looks upfield in a simple check-down pattern to Earl Farrell. Couldn't find anybody deep, and Farrell goes down to the 4-yard line, setting up a scoring opportunity for St. Louis.
Jack, how do you big, tough, rough guys stop somebody like O.J. Anderson?
Well, when I was playing defense, you take 4 or 5 defenders like this, and he still carries you in the end zone.
Yeah, he's tough, isn't he? Pittsburgh and Indianapolis, and for the Steelers today, Luis Lips has caught 6 balls, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns, 24-3 in the third quarter of that one. Seattle and Cincinnati, Ken Anderson has just been knocked out of the game. Turk Schonert is in, and the Bengals score anyway, and they now pull to within 4 points of the Seahawks in the third quarter. Detroit and Atlanta, 21-14. They have not yet started the second half in that one. And Green Bay and New England, the Packers do not look good this afternoon. With the rain coming down, Tony Collins got the corner turned, Irv.
Well, many people seem to think this New England team, Brent, could wind up in the Super Bowl, too. They have a lot of talent. Tony Collins scrambling off his right tackle for a 11-yard touchdown run there.
Here's your favorite play of the day.
the quarterback sack in the end zone where you can score points. A defensive lineman can score points. I love it.
And Lynn Dickey comes off. He doesn't love it so much, though, Jack. I got to tell you. Hey, what about this injury here?
Mike Douglas is really the cornerstone of that Packer defense. They can't afford to lose him. Went out with a fractured clavicle.
What game was I watching? I said those guys were protecting themselves from rain. That was obviously sunshine in there, right? Now on our scoreboard, the Miami Dolphins in the third quarter. They lead Houston 13-9 there. Philadelphia and the Giants. Here's where they've got precipitation. It is 14-0 Giants. Now, the Giants scored very early. Jack, what do you think of Phil Simms?
I really like Phil. He is a real competitor. He's got the attitude of a defensive lineman or a linebacker, and he's got a lot of talent. Look at him throw this ball here.
Could have problems in Philadelphia this year.
Yeah, watch your left offensive tackle. Kevin Allen, #1 draft choice in Indiana, couldn't stop Marshall.
And Joe Morris scored it for the Giants' second touchdown. They led by 14 and let the heavens open up and celebrate. I mean, it came down. And that group just enjoyed. Jack, is it fun to play in the rain?
It really is. You slip and slide. You feel like a kid out there again. It's like playing in the sandlot again.
I'll tell you who else feels like a kid. Bud Grant. Can you believe this score? San Francisco 7, Minnesota nothing. When I went hunting last year with Bud, I said, do you miss anything? He said, yeah, I missed Sunday afternoon. And here is why. Jack, Roger Craig got on the board early for the 49ers.
He really, Roger Craig has become a dominant force in that San Francisco offense. And here he goes in for the score. I really like the way this man cut it. He scored 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl last year.
Herb, what's the status of Joe Montana?
Well, he came in with a back problem. That was okay. Now he's forced to scramble here, and as he goes off on his scramble, Willie Keel knocks him off, and he injured his ankle a little bit, but he seemed to be okay. He came back.
And, you know, sometimes that just throws the timing off a little bit, Jack. Here was Matt Cavanaugh and Freddie Solomon. They didn't quite hook up.
Just off the fingertips of Freddie Solomon. I think Freddie's going to blame Cavanaugh for that one.
Well, the Bears come back in the second half.
I got to make up a lot of points. I think they will, though.
All right. The NFL Today continues on CBS with the second half. It's the Bears and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in just a moment.
I can trade in this old TV on a new Curtis Mathis?
Curtis Mathis National Trade-In Days are on.
I can trade in this TV on a new Curtis Mathis?
Bring in your old TV.
Let it into the end zone. Of course, you cannot advance the punt return, but it set them up for another touchdown. DeBerg, his second touchdown pass, it went to Jerry Bell, and they led at that point 21-7, and they stand 28-17. And I think defensively, the Buccaneers, well, the Bears have better stats. Overall yardage, 239 net yards. Despite the fact they've rolled up more yardage, the Bucs have stopped them when they've had to, and that's been most impressive. So we're ready to play football here for the second half, and it'll be the Chicago Bears kicking it off. It'll be Kevin Butler, and the Buccaneers defending to our left. And the Buccaneers get it out to the 25-yard line. Leon Bright, number 29, played in the Canadian Football League and then with the New York Giants and turned up with the Bucs as a free agent in 1984 and one of the real good kick and punt returners. So as we were saying at halftime there, our stats are slightly different than what we gave you. 234 yards of total offense for the Chicago Bears, but they trail on the scoreboard as the Buccaneers have been able to stop them in several of the big situations.
And DeBerg is throwing 8 for 10. That's 80%. That's not bad. McMahon is 13 of 21, so both quarterbacks have pretty good statistics. Now the Bears go into their 46th defense now.
And that defense doesn't look like the league's number 1, at least in the first half. First down, DeBerg finds the open man, Carter. Sideline pass, Richardson on the coverage. Pickup of 5, maybe 6 yards. DeBerg with 3 touchdown passes in the first half, 1 interception. Each team had an interception. Fensick for the Bears, Castile for the Buccaneers. That was on a long bomb, a well-thrown ball by Jim McMahon, but Castile had real good coverage on Ken Marjoram.
We were talking with Lehman Bennett yesterday, and he admits that he's put a lot of stress on his quarterbacks. DeBerg has to call, when he calls a pass play, he has to call every individual pattern, not a name pattern that signals everybody what to do. He calls each one individually, so he has got to call an awful lot.
Now, we wrote down an example of that, which we'll give you here on the next play if we can. Short drop, the ball is tipped, intercepted. Mike Richardson. To make it Frazier, Leslie Frazier, 21. Richard Dent got a hand on the ball, and Leslie Frazier alertly picked it up and took it into the end zone. A 29-yard touchdown, and the Bears strike quickly here in the second half.
I'm sure this was an audible call against that 46. Watch Dent. He's number 95. He bats the ball, and Frazier takes it in for the easy touchdown. However, I think he would have intercepted had the ball not been tapped, because he had decided he was going to come forward and take a chance that it was going to be the quick pitch pass. Leslie Frazier, who's been hobbled by a sore thigh, comes through for the Bears, and you talk about a quick turnaround. That's it right there.
So Butler in for the point after, and he has it. So the happy Bears fans celebrate that sudden score here in the second half as they've reduced the margin to 4 again. Leslie Frazier picking off the DeBerg pass tipped by Richard Dent, and it's now Tampa Bay 28 and Chicago 24. So the Bears will kick it off. We talked about the fact that was probably an audible, Johnny. You mentioned that. And you had talked about how DeBerg has all the responsibility. Let me just give you an example here. Last year, Steve DeBerg would call a play that might have been called 82 hot. That sounds pretty simple. This year, the same play, 82 hot, in the huddle, he would have to say the following: storm, set short, 404, flat, wide. You've got to be an English major and a computer scientist to be the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, as you pointed out, he's really talking to the 5 receivers. He's establishing first the protection they're going to use, then the drop, which is set short. The 5 receivers' instructions where they're going, that's 4-0-4, flat and wide, the last one being his running back Wilder. So he's really telling everybody on the team their individual assignments. Now, I guess the theory, at least your theory about the theory, was that it's easier for one man to know everything. Butler nails that all the way through the end zone. And Tampa Bay will start again from the 20-yard line. And there is Kevin Butler, who attempted the long field goal at the end of the half and fell short. This one he really boomed.
Well, Ditka is talking with him, but I don't think he has got to be unhappy with him, because the reason he kept Butler over Bob Thomas was the fact that he can put that ball in the end zone, and he feels that his accuracy record in college is good enough to make him a good pro. And so far, he has proven that, except for that long one, which you can't expect anybody to make, except maybe the man up above.
So Steve DeBerg brings him out again. First and 10 from the 20-yard line of Tampa Bay. They lead by 4, 28-24. Gary Bell sets up on the right side as a tight end, and there's early action before the snap. Jimmy Giles and Richard Dent. We'll see how the officials rule it.
I think it appears that Jimmy Giles came across too soon and made contact, so it'll go against Tampa Bay.
Offense, offside, made contact before the snap. 5-yard penalty, no first down.
This has got to be the key turning point in this football game, is what the Tampa Bay offense does in this series. If they can come up with a successful drive, move down the field, and get on the board, it will somewhat counter that momentum the Bears got with the interception. However, if they don't move it this time, it looks like a momentum swing to me.
It'll be interesting to see what defensive adjustments, if any, were made by Buddy Ryan of the Bears at halftime. Draw play, barreling out to the 25-yard line, James Wilder, and Wilbur Marshall made the initial contact. Otis Wilson got over there to get in on it. Wilson limping around a little bit. He's been bothered with a sore ankle and a bruised knee. James Wilder, 120 yards, 15 carries. That's 8 100-yard game as a Buccaneer, and he had those 100 yards in the first half.
My mathematics say that's 8 yards per carry.
Second down and 5. Wilder again takes it to the right side. Nice tackle on him by Gary Fensick. And then Wilson came down on top of him, and Wilder is hurt. The Iron Man is getting up slowly. Well, apparently he's all right. I think it was the weight of Otis Wilson on top of him. Fensick made the tackle that they say you should make on those big, powerful, high-running guys like Wilder, and that's to get him around the ankles, because otherwise he'll run over you.
They hit him low. It's almost like a block. It's like a cut block. As Wilder does a good job of cutting back, Marshall's tangled up inside. Here comes 45. and he hit him right on the thigh. And then comes Otis Wilson over the top, number 55. So I don't know which, I would have to imagine that it was Fensick's hit that might have shaken him up a little bit. Didn't appear that Wilson hit him that. Now here is he played third and about, what, an inch or two?
Third and very short, about the length of a football. They've got the refrigerator in there, number 72. William Anthony Perry, their number 1 pick from Clemson, to stack up the middle of that line, 325 pounds. Well, the stack was there, and how you sort that one out will be interesting. It appears to me that DeBerg did not get over the 30-yard line, which he would need to get to, but we'll let the officials spot it.
He looks to be a little bit short.
Well, the refrigerator was there, but I think Dan Hampton was at the bottom of the pile, number 99.
Okay, Lehman Bennett on the spot here for the first time. If they do not make it, the obvious call was to punt away, but he knows about a momentum situation. He'd like to keep the ball if he possibly could.
Well, they brought the chains out, and now looks like they're waving them back as though it's not required. It'll be 4th down and inches, or about an inch. Otis Wilson is being assisted off the field. He was in the middle of that last pile up, and it looks like they're checking his nose and mouth. He might have taken a little shot in the face, and he's already, as we mentioned, got a sore ankle and a bad knee.
They're going to punt.
So it is 4th down, and they will not go. Frank Garcia, standing at his 15-yard line, will be the punter. And the rookie Ken Taylor will wait for it. There's Otis Wilson. Looks like he got a little shot in the head from that pile-up stopping Steve DeBerg. Garcia, one of the best punters in the league, waiting at the 15-yard line. And there'll be a delay penalty against Tampa Bay. Used up more than the allowed 30 seconds. Calvin McGee, the rookie from Southern who caught a touchdown pass in the first period, is the punt snapper. Just became the official punt snapper this week for Tampa Bay, replacing Ken Kaplan in that role.
He's punting against about a 10-mile-an-hour wind.
And it's a good one. He backs up Taylor to the 28 of Chicago. Ken Taylor gets away from one tackler and then is hauled down with a high tackle at the 40-yard line of Chicago by Mark Woody, reserve tight end number 85. So the Bears will have pretty good field position from their 40. When we return, they trail by 4.
Suspension, another demonstration of Ford quality.
You know, you don't have to drive a big, expensive luxury car to give your family a smooth ride. Not when we've designed 4-wheel, fully independent suspension into this Ford Tempo. See how each wheel is smoothing out the bumps separately? You ought to feel this ride. This Tempo might not be the most expensive car we build at Ford, but that doesn't mean we don't work just as hard to build in quality.
Ford, you'll feel the quality, because quality...
Johnny Morris, the Buccaneers lead by 4 at Chicago ball, and you see number 32 awaiting the next offensive series, awaiting it in pain. His left shoulder on the last carry, his 16th of the game. Wilson and Fensick put the stop on him, but it was more likely, I would think, the fall onto the turf from the tackle, the ankle grab by Fensick, his own body weight. He has 120 yards on 16 carries. Chicago ball from their own 40-yard line. McKinnon in motion. McMahon out to Payton. Payton nearly slips, retained his balance, and winds up with 5 to the 45-yard line. Tripped up by Castile, number 23. Somebody else popped on top of him, I believe, Hugh Green, and the crowd got on Green for that. But Green immediately went to Payton and said, hey, I can't read his lips from up here, but it looked like he was saying sorry. They're good friends. We talked to Hugh Green yesterday, and they appreciate each other's ability in this game from opposite sides of the field. And Hugh Green has played in the Pro Bowl with Walter Payton and said they've gone out to dinner together and so on. And he knows full well that they're both going to be extremely tough competitors against each other in this game. Second and a long 5. Payton again. Payton dances through tacklers and has a first down to the 45-yard line of Tampa Bay. Word on James Wilder is that he is planning on coming back into the game. Green and Chris Washington combined on the tackle. Washington 51, Green 53. And there you see Wilder on the sideline. The ball spotted at the 46-yard line of Tampa Bay. The Bears trail by 4, and they are on the march. Payton now has 54 yards on 9 carries. Play action. McMahon with time. Flares it off to Payton. Payton over the 40. Well played by David Greenwood, the newcomer from the USFL and the University of Wisconsin. Johnny, we speculated about Greenwood having been moved to strong safety late in the week, having had only 1 week of practice. Ivory Sully moving over to the weak safety, the free safety, and the fact that there may be some confusion. I think we saw maybe twice in the first half that occurred. On the other hand, it doesn't seem to me that the Bears have really been attacking that as a possible weakness in the Buccaneers secondary.
The last time McKinnon was running wide open across the field, and he threw to Payton. We're going to see him hit McKinnon pretty quick, I think.
2nd and 4, Chicago at the Tampa Bay 40-yard line. Payton takes it outside and trying to drive for the first down. Got about 3.5 yards, but is short of the first down. Chris Washington, the second-year linebacker from Iowa State, who beat out Keith Browner in the battle for that spot, made the tackle on Payton, and we see that St. Louis in front of Cleveland 10-3. The Cardinals, one of the top teams in the NFC East. Pittsburgh really doing a number on Indianapolis, 31-3. Pittsburgh struggled with their offense in the preseason. Detroit and Atlanta are now tied at 21 all. Lions are not too highly regarded. Surprising today, they'll be at home against the Dallas Cowboys, an early season tough test for them. Part of our doubleheader action next week at 12:30 Eastern Time. 3rd and a yard, a flag down. Sewey has the first down for Chicago to the 32 of Tampa Bay. Flags everywhere.
Payton was off the field on that play.
Defense, nose guard, offside. 5-yard penalty, first down.
David Logan, number 76, called for the offside, and so they have the first down anyway.
They're working on Payton on the sidelines. It might be a little bit of heat frustration because, you know, Payton wouldn't have been off the field on that situation unless he had to. The trainer, Freddie Cato's talking to him.
Dennis Gentry is in to replace him, number 29. Jim Covert has come out and has some relief from Andy Frederick at left tackle. Frederick, number 71. Moorhead in motion. McMahon away from traffic, and that one too high for Willie Gault. McMahon just out there practicing the motion that he wanted to throw over to the sideline, was off the market. That looked like a tennis player after he's knocked a ball long and then makes the stroke, saying, now if I had just turned it over a little bit. And McMahon just sailed that a little.
You know, Tampa Bay hasn't won on the road in 11 games. They have not been a good road team the last couple of years.
They came in here today like they love it on the road. And they're still in front by 4. 8:56 remaining, 3rd quarter. The Bears on the march in Tampa Bay territory. 2nd and 10 at the 31. They give us to Dennis Gentry. He's got blockers. Takes it upfield and gets only a couple good defensive work. Number 90, the rookie Ron Holmes. They have high hopes for this young man from Washington, and he made the play on Dennis Gentry. Payton comes back in for Gentry.
So I think he just needed a little breather, wanted to get a little oxygen and make sure that he was breathing correctly, because it is really hot down there. The only thing that's saving him has got to be a little bit of the wind. Payton is 10 for 59. Last year gained 1,644 yards. Unbelievable durability. Has not missed a game since his rookie season. This is his 11th year.
Extra down lineman into Tampa Bay, Carl Morgan, number 67. The nickelback is Paul Dombrowski, the newcomer from the New England Patriots. They take the draw, and they have a man open. Incomplete to Willie Gault. And the rush on McMahon, he was able to elude it, but he did have to unload the ball quickly. Intended for Gault, incomplete. So it is 4th down, and the Buccaneers have held.
So it's going to be Butler's turn again. What did you say his stats were from 40 to 50 yards, 10 of...
In college, he was 10 of 17 from 50 to 60 yards. And today, he missed the 63-yarder, was well short on it. They had a little problem with the hold on that one with Fuller, too, on the long one at your halftime. This one is from the 36-yard line, a 46-yard attempt by Butler, and it is wide to the right. Wide to the right. So Butler, the rookie, is 1 for 3 today, having connected from 38 yards away, and the Buccaneers have stopped the Bears without a point, and they lead by 4.
All you gotta do is smell the morning, flash on Old Spice. Now you're moving, isn't it tonight? Up and at 'em, don't think twice. Pour out a handful, splash on some Spice.
Nobody sends more guys out there alive and awake than unmistakably masculine Old Spice.
Now you're moving, don't think twice. Splash on the feeling, splash on some Spice.
This weekend, I'm seeing Ron. I got the Camaro. I'm seeing the folks, so... And I got a Chevette. My sister's in town this weekend with their kids.
You need a big car.
For just the right car, ask National for their low weekend rates, starting as low as $19.95 a day for an economy car like the Chevy Chevette.
For my class reunion, the Cadillac.
Weekends it pays to get national attention.
Now with Castrol, the motor oil engineered for smaller cars, you'll save more than wear and tear on your engine. You'll save on Prestone antifreeze, Simonized wax, STP gas treatment, Pure Later filters, and more. In every 12-pack of Castrol are rebates worth $45. So Castrol makes things easy on your budget while it...
County Morris, and we see the Bears down there gathered around the air conditioner. The offensive team awaiting their next chance at the ball, and Tampa Bay, meanwhile, sends Wilder back out the left side. Wilder with only Frazier to beat, and Frazier put the tackle on him, but Wilder grinds out another 10-yarder.
Did you notice there he switched to his right shoulder to make contact? He avoided making contact with his left shoulder as Frazier came up for the tackle. So obviously he's hurting, but he ran pretty well. Off the counter, they get the guards out in front now. You'll watch him just instead of dipping down here with his left shoulder, he goes with the right shoulder to make sure that he doesn't hit that left shoulder. So he's obviously hampered a little bit.
131 yards, but as James would probably say, I don't run with my shoulder. Rolled up another 11-yarder. First down, Tampa Bay at their 39-yard line. Play action again. DeBerg under pressure, gets away, and then it's dropped. Wilson led the charge, but Dent got his man. Last year's sack leader. Reaching out, hauled down DeBerg way back at the 25-yard line of Tampa Bay.
Richard Dent is playing with a slight hamstring pull. Otis Wilson is 55. He'll come from this side. Dent will come from the right side of your screen, and DeBerg has no chance. They were both on him from both angles, and DeBerg is not the quickest of all quarterbacks anyway, and Dent has good speed, good range. But he's playing with a kind of a hamstring pull. Also, he's playing because he's unhappy with his contract, and he wants an extension to be ironed out before he plays too much longer.
Well, they've got a few guys nicked along that defensive line. Hampton recovering from knee surgery. Michael a little bit hurt. DeBerg complete to Jerry Bell. Gets back to the 35-yard line. Will still leave 15 yards to go for a first down. Dave Duerson had the coverage. A flag down back where DeBerg released the ball. They may have a hold against the Buccaneers. They're going to bring the ball back. See what Gene Barth, the referee, has to say about this one.
Holding. 69 offense, 10 yards.
That was Yarno. He was blocking on Richard Dent. I saw the block. It didn't look like he was holding, but it looked like he wheeled him out well.
George Yarno from Washington State had been with the Bucs as a free agent in 1979, played several years for them, then jumped to the USFL and came back this year and wound up as a starter. So at a 2nd and 33, the first sack of the game, Richard Dent's first of the year. Wilder with Dan Hampton riding herd on him. Got to the 20-yard line for a gain of about 5. Singletary helping out Dan Hampton. So it'll be 3rd down and 28 yards to go for a first down. The Bird 10 of 13.
The Bears go into the nickel. Sean Gale comes in, and it appears that the Bears are starting to show some of that swarming defense that they're noted for. Nickel defense.
Well, the Bucs have been in this 3rd down situation 4 times, converted once. They got a long one this time. They need 28 yards. The Bird up the middle for Jerry Bell, incomplete. The pass was off the mark, and Pensick got more of it than Jerry Bell did. So the Bears defense starting to look a little bit more like last year's, as they had a sack and they made the pass defense plays, and these Bear fans love defense.
You wouldn't think they'd have the energy to yell so loud with all this 100 degrees out there.
There's Ken Taylor, the rookie, awaiting the punt from Frank Garcia, and he's standing at the Bear 45-yard line. Jerry Bell being assisted from the field. He was a little slow to get up as he dove for that pass behind him. Smacked himself onto that hard, artificial surface. Garcia standing inside his own 5-yard line. Low snap, but he feels it. And a pretty good kick against the wind. Goes out of bounds at the 40, make it the 38-yard line of the Chicago Bears. A 42-yarder from Garcia against the breeze. And we'll be back at Soldier Field with Tampa 28 and the Bears 24.
Over the years,
McMahon on first down, and a diving grab by Kenny Marjoram for a first down at the 45-yard line. McMahon a little short with the ball, but Ken Marjoram, the former Stanford whiz, came back to get it.
Actually, he wasn't all that short. That was what you call a great precision type of pass. Marjoram went straight down the field, turned to the outside, and came back. And McMahon's timing, because as he comes back, there's the ball right there for the completion. Marjoram playing for Willie Galt, who's dropped a couple of passes, and Mike Ditka has put Marjoram in there. And I don't know if he's said, "Hey, Willie, that's it," or what. But anyway, Galt is on the sidelines.
First down, Chicago, at the 46-yard line of Tampa Bay. McMahon had a little pressure. There was good coverage on Payton, who had slipped out of the backfield. John Cannon had some heat on McMahon, and Castile had the coverage on Payton, and he just couldn't get free in time, and the pass is incomplete. Jeremiah Castile, number 23. Marjoram, interesting rehab from that injury you saw on the screen on the graphics just a few moments ago, coming off knee surgery a year ago. He really kind of constructed his own plan. He was very determined. He did a lot of bike riding on the hills in California where he lives, and he feels that it's built up his thighs and helped to rehab his knee a lot faster. And he actually thinks he's quicker now, can run the 40 faster than when he was just out of college without an injury. McMahon on 2nd and 9, up the middle, complete to Moorhead. 2nd and 10, pardon me, and Moorhead is short of the first down at the 40-yard line, a gain of about 7 yards. Jeff Davis, the linebacker, 58, and Hugh Green, number 53. Combined on the tackle, that solid linebacking core of the Buccaneers.
Well, they like you to let you catch those short passes in front of you, and then the tradition of Tampa Bay is to bring those linebackers and really punish the short pass receiver. So now we have a critical situation, 3rd and 4.5.
Hugh Green likes to be involved in the pass coverage. He thinks that he can cover anybody one-on-one. Rather not see the wide receivers, but tight ends and running backs, he says he can handle.
Blitz.
3rd down, he gets time, and he's got it to McKinnon. McKinnon down the sideline as a Bears first down at the 25-yard line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 15-yard gain.
The Bucs brought linebackers up the middle, and McKinnon just went down, faked in, came back outside, and McMahon put it on the dime, down the sidelines, and it's a first down for Chicago as the Buccaneers tried to cross the Bears up with that blitz up the middle as Walter Payton comes off the field again. And Apparently he's having some trouble breathing or something, because that's the second time he's come off. I don't know exactly what it is.
Dennis Gentry in to replace him. Moorhead in motion behind the ball. McMahon complete to McKinnon. First down, Chicago. Good hit on McKinnon by Castillo, and McKinnon gets up a little slowly. A first down at the 13-yard line of Tampa Bay. The Bears driving here to take the lead.
Just down and in the quick post, and that's where McKinnon's open over the middle, because he's getting inside position on the cornerbacks, both of them, Holt and Castillo.
Well, McKinnon, of course, they're going to worry about that knee every time that he gets hit. Looks like he tried to take another stride after he had been tackled. Brad Anderson comes in to replace him, number 86. McKinnon with knee surgery in July, and he's had a very careful rehabilitation period through the preseason. 5 defensive backs in on first down, Chicago. Payton is stopped behind the line of scrimmage, and that Tampa defense in crunch time, their front has done a real good job. Jeff Davis, the linebacker, making the hit on Walter Payton, and Hugh Green right there as well, number 53. Fun talking to Hugh Green yesterday about linebackers. He said, who are the great linebackers in the league? He says, well, there's Ricky Jackson and Lawrence Taylor and me, and he's well, anybody else?
The other two.
Yeah. Is there anybody else? No, I don't think so. I think that when you talk about the best, that's who you're talking about. And he says that I think I pass cover better than Lawrence Taylor.
Well, he does everything well, which he says he's not as good a blitzer maybe as Taylor, but he covers better, so maybe he has a point.
2nd and 9. Payton looking to dance around that left corner, got inside the 5. He just picked his way carefully through the blockers. He wasn't even moving too quickly, but it was just how he found the real estate. Wound up with a gain of 6, maybe 7 yards, and Green and Davis again on the tackle.
Okay, he has these linemen pulling out in front of him. You'll see Van Horn and Jimbo Covert. And there is Matt Suey pushing Hugh Green back. Payton's going to wait for his blocks. He's waiting. There comes Van Horn right there. Jimbo Covert, 74. And then Payton always manages to get a couple of extra yards. He wound up getting down to the 3-yard line.
Payton took himself out right after that play. Again, something's bothering him. He threw off his sweatband, his headband that he wears, after he took his helmet off. Randall and Morgan have joined the Buccaneer defense. 3rd down and a yard to go. Flags everywhere.
False start, 62 offense.
Mark Bortz.
Number 62, the left guard. A little miscue on the snap call, perhaps, and so they go from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 6.
That does make a difference, doesn't it?
62 offense.
The first down, to get a first down, they have to get inside the 3. And Gentry had come into the lineup for Payton again. Or watching Payton somewhat on the sideline as he was motioning to his head and to his stomach, it seemed. He may just not be feeling well from the heat, which is certainly to be expected part of a lot of these athletes today.
In the past years, Payton is one guy who's had some problems when it's been extra hot.
Bears have picked up 7 penalties, 73 yards they've hurt themselves. McMahon rolling out, trying to find an open man in the end zone, and it is touchdown, Matt Suey.
What a grab by Matsui, and what a play by Jim McMahon. He had one guard out there, Kurt Becker. He was under pressure from Washington and Davis, and McMahon waited. He waits for Suey to clear in the corner of the end zone and throws at the last second. Suey's got to keep 2 feet in. There's one, kicks the other one down, and it looks like a touchdown for the Chicago Bears. They take the lead for the first time.
Kevin Butler in for the point after. And he's got it. So the Chicago Bears, with 27 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter, have moved in front of the Buccaneers in a high-scoring game, 31-28.
Some things look hard, but once you know the secret, they're easy.
It's easy.
Some people think financing a new car is hard, but it isn't. It's easy.
It's as easy as...
What it looked like before.
And you can see Matt Suey, who caught the touchdown pass. Walter Payton, who's dead tired. Suey got dinged in the head, remember, earlier in the football game. This is really a football game on a day like this. It's a game of will. And you got to reach down sometimes and get up as much as you can because it's a tough day. The linemen have been bending over, gasping for breath in between plays. It's a tough day. It's where you earn your money.
Line drive kickoff by Kevin Butler eluded the deep return men and went through the end zone, so Tampa will start first down from their 20-yard line. Well, now for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger for an update on the San Francisco game.
But Tim, the big story. Minnesota has tied San Francisco. This play set it up. Tommy Kramer to Leo Lewis. Great catch. 23-yard gain. It is all knotted up at 7-all. Let's go back to Tim and Johnny.
Well, the Vikings, with Bud Grant back at the helm, most people expected they would be the doormat in the Central Division after a disaster season last year. Here they are playing the champs tough in the Metrodome.
Soldier Field is going wild at this moment, exhorting the defense on. Big job now for Steve DeBerg.
Bears used up 4:45 in that drive, and we're winding down here in the third quarter. First down from the 20. Wilder dropped for a loss. Steve McMichael, number 76, the 6-year veteran from Texas.
Okay, the Bears were in their 46 defense, but moving some people. A little bit of confusion. Watch 50 Singletary. There goes 50's telling everybody where to get. Marshall got inside. Oh, we're at the end of the quarter as the Chicago Bears. You'll see McMichael's the one who ends up getting the tackle. Singletary's trying to devise, tell everybody where to go. Apparently, Steve McMichael, 76, he heard it right because he made the tackle.
Well, we finished the third period. At the end of the third quarter, the score, Tampa Bay 28, the Chicago Bears 31. We pause for a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Light Beer from Miller. Everything you've always wanted in a beer and less.
Well, the first play of the fourth quarter sees Steve DeBerg charged for the second time. Illegal procedure. Again, either a cadence change or moving his head or shoulders to draw the defense offside. It may have not even been intentionally designed to do that, but if it effectively did so, then he gets the call, and that's what happened.
So they're in a 2nd and 15 situation, and with Wilder kind of banged up, I don't know. I think it's going to have to be House or Giles or somebody like that. He's going to have to take his chances and getting down the field.
2nd and 15. From the 13-yard line, Jerry Bell in motion. They give it to Wilder, trying the right side. He slipped trying to cut upfield, and is dropped for another loss. Well, perhaps just a no-gainer at the line of scrimmage. Otis Wilson, Singletary, and Wilbur Marshall, number 58. All three linebackers were there to make sure Wilder could not move.
I think what's going to happen is the pass play should have been on this down rather than the third down coming up situation here. As you can see, the Bears are all over it, and Wilder at 100%. Now the Bears will go into one of their prevent defenses, and this is the toughest time to throw against Chicago. They had the best record in the league the last 5 or 6 years in percentage of completions against them on third down.
Timeout called by the Buccaneers on this 3rd and long. With the ball at the 13-yard line. Steve DeBerg is going to go and consult with Lehman Bennett. We were talking earlier about DeBerg and having to be the man who knows all of the terminology and all of the assignments and passes those along to each player individually, changing a short play call into a considerably longer one from last year, as an example, when the call was short and everybody else knew precisely what they were to do. If Steve Young is to be signed, as they hope to do, the young man from the USFL and BYU is a collegian, I would think that with what DeBerg was telling us yesterday, it would take Steve Young some time just to learn the terminology, let alone find himself in a position to compete with the Berg this season.
I would agree with that, and so does Lehman Bennett. The Berg's done well in this football game. The key play of this football game was that interception that gave the Bears the quick 7 points at the beginning of the second half, and it seemed to turn the tide, and Tampa Bay has been trying to hold them off. They need a big play, and it's tough to get on the Bears on third down, so we'll see what happens.
Pittsburgh really doing a job on the Colts in their opener, 38-3, Mark Malone and company for the Steelers. And New England leading Green Bay 19-6. Tampa and Chicago fans happy to see that score. Green Bay finished the season so well last year, considered a contender in the NFC Central. All right, the Buccaneers are ready, and they go with a straight-ahead dive to Wilder on 3rd and 15, and McMichael made the tackle. They had a long discussion for a rather simple play.
Well, they figured it was going to be tough to get to throw against the Bears, and but I say you're asking a lot to get 15 yards on a draw play with anybody.
And it wasn't even a very well-disguised draw. I mean, it was almost a straight handoff, although it looked like it was designed as a draw play on 3rd and 15. Garcia standing in his end zone. Taylor way back at the Bears' 35-yard line. And the ball is blocked. The punt is blocked by Sean Gale. And it is a dead ball at the 13-yard line. Sean Gale, number 23, blocking the punt. The second-year man from Ohio State.
Okay, Garcia gets it 1, 2, 3.5 steps, and Sean Gale came from the outside. Just quickness from the outside. Nobody brushed him. He got through. The Bears now have a chance to put the Bucs in a big, big hole. First down at the 13-yard line. The defense is on the spot now.
Marjoram goes left. McKinnon right. Payton back into the ball game. Calvin Thomas replacing Matt Suey on this play. Play action. McMahon has Thomas wide open. Thomas pulls to the 1-yard line. Calvin Thomas slipping out of the backfield. Ivory Sully, number 44, stopped him from going into the end zone. But it's a first down after a 12-yard gain.
And what a collision here as McMahon rolls out. Kurt Becker, watch 79. He's going to get two guys on one block. There's two of them right there, and they both go down. There's the throw to Thomas, and then Ivory Sully really takes a shot. Boy, as Thomas is 245 pounds. Boy, he's hard to bring down, but he did stop him. The Bears down to the 1, first down. The Bucs are in big trouble.
Andy Frederick comes in to add extra blocking on this goal line situation.
Chicago timeout.
Timeout called by the Bears. So a little mix-up of some kind that McMahon wants to make sure he has absolutely straight, as the Bears have a chance here with 12:37 remaining regulation time to really open up a lead.
Jack Rafferty proves you just can't tell.
The fellas that I work with are pretty perceptive. They don't miss too much. No one had picked up the fact that the gray was gone from my hair. It was that simple.
Tim Ryan with Johnny Morris as we see Mike Ditka looking on as his team has first and goal at the 1-yard line of Tampa Bay following Sean Gale's blocked punt. Blocking the punt of Frank Garcia. Jim McMahon took a timeout to make sure that they have the right play ready here on first and goal. Moorhead starts in motion, reverses himself, rolling out as McMahon. He will walk in. Flags everywhere. And you know what this is going to be? Too much celebration in the end zone. And that will be tacked on to the Bears kickoff.
You got to be kidding.
Well, no, I'm not, because that's all that could be. McMahon and Kurt Becker.
They scored a touchdown. Will penalize 5 yards on the kickoff. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Someone other than McMahon scoring a touchdown spiked the ball.
It's called unsportsmanlike conduct. Technically, that was put in last year, as you may recall, after the the high incidence of spiking that used to go on, and they try to cool out all of the stuff that was happening in the end zone. I don't think this one was too overdone.
No, they didn't call it very much last year either, as McMahon. They faked to Payton, and McMahon just cruised into the end zone and holds the ball. Kurt Becker comes over.
He gave the ball to Becker.
Becker, 79, and he spikes the ball. So that's the 5-yard penalty,
Then
folks.
they gave it a couple of low fives, and they got the penalty.
Well, I never agreed with that penalty when they call it, except for extreme cases. I mean, let the guys have a little celebration, it would seem like to me.
Well, it's not supposed to be fun out there. This is big business.
It's supposed to be
that?
fun. I think I remember it used to be fun.
All right. Well, the Bears are having a little more fun than the Buccaneers are right now, but there's 12:32 still to play in this game as Jim McMahon gets a little air down there. Well, the air conditioner will work on that haircut. It hasn't got a whole lot to get through.
We have had 66 points scored in this football game. Who would have thunk it? And you know, this is a big game for Mike Ditka and a big game for the Chicago Bear offense due to the fact that usually when this team needs to be saved, it's the defense that does it. This is the time that the offense has come through for the Chicago Bear defense and come back. And the offense is Mike Ditka's bailiwick, so that's got to be a lot of pride for him feeling about this. Now, Tampa Bay's not through yet. We still have a long time to play.
The Giants lead Philadelphia 21-0, a second touchdown by Joe Morris. St. Louis 17, the Cleveland Browns 3 in the fourth quarter. Gary Danielson was scheduled to start for Cleveland in that game, not the rookie Kozar. Detroit's moved ahead of Atlanta, 28-24. And remember, next week the Lions will be at home against the Dallas Cowboys.